I'm Everett Curdy, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about the South Node in Scorpio, North Node in Taurus placement in astrology. So this is the official video that I am making about this topic, and there may be other videos, but this is what it means in the natal chart. Now, I was born with this placement, and the aspects and themes of it are more, they pertain to me more. They relate and matter to me more. And, right now, as I'm recording this video, the North Node is in Taurus and South Node is in Scorpio. So, a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about deals with what is currently going on in the cosmos. And, in your own life, you may relate and see these themes playing out. And so, yeah, that's just what I want to say for that. So, getting into it. The South Node and North Node. So let's start talking about these 2 points first. The South Node and North Node move together, but they're 180 degrees apart from each other. They're not in the same sign. They're in opposite signs, but they travel together. And they transit each sign that they're moving through over the course of 18 months or so, 18 to 19 months. And it takes 18 to 19 years for them to travel back to a certain position, or where your North Node and South Node is placed in your natal chart, at the degree that it's placed in. I have another video I made about the nodal return. You can go check that out. But these 2 points are really spiritual and really karmic. And another thing to note is they move retrograde, so they don't move forwards. And that is so profound in and of itself. But talking about, this, what they mean, the South Node is karma. It deals with what we're bringing in. It deals with our baggage. It also deals with wounds and an emotional memory of the past. We're sort of reincarnating in this life, and that is controversial in terms of the people that believe in that. Your South Node's really your early life. The themes and feelings and experiences and frequencies, the frequencies that you're familiar with, that you're comfortable with, that and the sort of lessons and traits and ways of being that you have mastered, to the point that your soul knows this so well, but that's not what you're coming in to this life to experience. You are coming in to move towards your North Node. And your North Node is opposite your South Node, and so you need to balance with your South Node, because we're not forgetting or abandoning the South Node. We are balancing it. And we can take the high version, the high qualities of the South Node, the higher octave expressions of the South Node sign, and we can take those qualities and move toward the North Node. Obviously, we're heading toward our North Node. We're moving upward. We're evolving. We're moving further towards our destiny in this lifetime. But we're not, forgetting, where we need to drop down, land, and come back, inside ourselves and come back to what we're used to and to, replenish. And, so it's a balancing act. And, just like the scales, where we need to balance those scales. But the South Node is karma. But if we keep going on this same path and we keep doing what we're used to doing because we're comfortable with it, then we're obviously going to hit a dead end. And we're not going to find that peace and that sense of meaning and purpose in our lives that we want to experience. We're not going to feel that sense of reward. We're not going to feel that sense of goodness and wonder and just sense of peace and tranquility inside ourselves. If we continue to stay stuck in our South Node, which is why I like to think we naturally move towards our North Node, because that's our soul, and that's what our soul is calling for us to do. Our soul signed up to do these certain things, develop these certain, qualities, these talents, these skills, these, do this, go on this certain path. And so that's what we're going to move towards. But the North Node is, a challenge. It's a stretch, and it's a push, and it's not easy and not comfortable. But our soul is guiding us and pushing us, or not pushing us, but sort of coaxing us into that direction. If we follow our intuition and follow our inner guide, we can reach that North Node point, and fulfill our potential in this lifetime. Now, what does all this information mean when it comes to the South Node in Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, first of all, is a sign of death, of things dying away, of a metaphorical death, of the caterpillar moving away from the butterfly, or the caterpillar becoming a butterfly. So there is this element of death, but then rebirth and transformation, which is, the higher qualities of Scorpio, the more positive qualities of this sign. But it's important to note that with the South Node, we can look more at the shadow sides of the sign. So it is both the South Node and the North Node. However, we can really look at those shadow qualities with that South Node in that sign. So while Scorpio does have to do with, empowerment and transformation and being the phoenix that rises from the ashes and being really loyal and committed and, determined, all of those things, Scorpio deals with toxicity, toxic patterns from the past that we are trying to break, that just don't serve us. And during this transit of the South Node in Scorpio, I have really been trying to work through these patterns, these addictive patterns that I'm trying to heal. And, with Scorpio, we can acknowledge those parts of ourselves that are vulnerable, that need bringing to light, that need the light to be shined onto them for them to become conscious. And so Scorpio can deal with, darkness, of being caught in, power struggles and power games, but also going back to the toxic patterns, any, addictive patterns. So, someone coming in with the South Node in Scorpio, it's really important to look and acknowledge those patterns of what they're bringing in. And so, in order for, that blocks them and that hinders them from experiencing peace, tranquility, being in the present moment, Taurus. Power struggles in a past life from that perspective. The South Node in Scorpio person could have experienced a lot of power struggles with this person in power, this binding contract or binding relationship where you were probably behind somebody in power and you were bonded to this person, and that relationship was so intense. And ultimately, you depended on this person for, to evolve, to provide for your, spiritual life, your material life, where you really depended on this person to provide you with, the material needs, such as money, such as food, all these kinds of things. And, so much of that, and you try to, gain that power, and trying to, be self-sufficient and be independent and all those kinds of things. But then maybe you were squished down and pushed down, and you were sort of getting yourself into entanglement, into just getting used to relying on another person, and depending upon another person for your needs. And you were getting used to the energy of crisis, because that's what the South Node in Scorpio also deals with, is being really familiar with crisis and trauma of losing things, of having things all blow up in your face, of having all these resources that you took with you and then they were gone. So loss, being overpowered by somebody else, being overwhelmed by a situation also comes in here. Being sort of hurt by a sort of, a dark art that you may have performed in a past life. Like maybe you might have been a detective or somebody who worked underground and underhand. You were keeping secrets. And, Scorpio really wants to live a life of intensity, and you need this life alive and all those kinds of things like that. And so a lot of darkness and depths, and being very familiar with the depths and the dark side, and the dark aspects of this life, and really being really attuned to manipulation and people doing things for these motives, how others treated you, or how they want to take control, all these kinds of things. Jealousy is also a theme that relates to Scorpio. So that energy of being very focused on other people, and how they are going about their life, and so forth, and and how other people would use people, or um, other things. That's a very familiar energy. Um, so power struggles is a theme here, where you would do these certain things or say these certain things to people to get what you need and want. Going through trauma and drama, experiencing it, there's a tendency to want to bring back that drama. The need for drama, the need for chaos, the need for conflict is really strong here. And you may have been a power monger, who knows? I don't want to make any assumptions here. And so again, Scorpio deals with betrayal. Um, and the tendency to create crisis is, it can be unconscious, and it can be what you're used to, and so you're making efforts in this lifetime to break that and try to nip that in the bud and become aware of when you may do that. And again, seeking validation from other people instead of depending and relying on yourself. And also, again, uncovering truth, wanting to dig deep and getting to the bottom of things, and getting so caught in the spiritual world. But now, with the North Node in Taurus, we can focus on the material world, the tangible world of here and now. And that's what the North Node in Taurus is about. Taurus is a sign of stability, and so during this lifetime, your destiny is to try to create stability, to try to make a life that is according to your own values and not other people's. It is a life that you can feel good about yourself, of where things are moving in a really positive and productive direction. And not only that, but it's about cultivating patience and persistence, of being determined, being focused on a goal and staying the course, being in it for the long term, and about slowing down. It's not about rushing and going after something with full-on intensity, which is Scorpio, because it wants to destruct things. It's very extreme. Once all or nothing energy. That's Scorpio. That's not Taurus. And so when you get caught in that compulsive and obsessive energy of Scorpio, you are moving further away from your North Node, and you're bringing back the shadow sides of the South Node in Scorpio. And so with the North Node in Taurus, it's time to settle down, slow down, be here now. What is around you that you enjoy? Taurus deals with the finer things in life. It deals with the simple pleasures. Anything that involves your five senses, taste, touch, smell, hear, and see. All those kind of experiences, we're getting out in nature and, getting grounded. And eating, enjoying a nice meal, or making, a dish, or looking at art, or listening to music, or, just being where you are in the present moment and feeling what is around you, and, observing that, and, living in this present moment, where you can find peace, where you can be grounded, where you can be centered. And so this is where the North Node in Taurus is asking you, is you're being called upon to align with your truth and to align with, validating yourself, being in that state of self-worth and self-love. Because that's what Taurus deals with, of knowing that you are worthy of experiencing what is here and now, and living the life and manifesting a goal, a desire that you have, and going after, even a need that you have, and doing it on your own and doing it independently, and being self-sufficient, being responsible, and all those kind of things, and in whatever area of life that, the house, because, whatever house that you have the North Node in Taurus in your natal chart, it's going to tell you where do you want to implement these qualities into your life, or where these North Node qualities are going to show up in your life. And so there's a couple of themes: trusting yourself, to, go in a positive direction, to move, to, go on the right path, and to go towards fulfillment, and self, acceptance too is another thing. And, the feeling of inner peace and inner security, finding time where you can be more peaceful and, find that security. And maybe that may mean facing uncertainty in life, and that's a part of life, is being okay with what is, here and now, beyond what you can't change. That whole serenity prayer: God grant me the courage to change the things I can change, or God grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change, the courage to change the things I can, and then the willingness to know difference. That can also apply here too. But, another thing, living according to what's most important to you, to what matters most to you, not based off, not based off of what others need or, want necessarily, that isn't authentic to you. And this also relates because Taurus is also the energy of money, and so you can live your own life and make a living. This also relates to making a living, making a living and getting simple, getting to the simple aspects of your life where it doesn't have to be so complicated and so dramatic and so deep. Sometimes, less is more, and sometimes we're moving towards the simple, and Taurus relates to the energy of simplicity. Becoming more grounded, becoming more self-sufficient, really putting yourself first in a healthy way, and, validating yourself. So that is really what this placement is all about. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and found it informative, insightful, interesting, entertaining, and I hope that you enjoy. I probably said that before, but anyway, bye for now, everybody. I'll see you in another video.